Thank you, Mr. Chair. Another question po doon sa binanggit nyo kanina yung gunshot, diba, na sa findings po sa gunshot residue sa GSR, kina Chai at Ariel. For the record, Mr. Chair, merong dalawang conflicting chemistry reports ayon sa AO35. SIT. Una, both hands ni Chai ang positive, tas negative for Ariel. Yung pangalawang chem report, baliktad, yung kamay ni Ariel, daw ni Ariel, ang positive at yung kay Chai ang negative. In your experience, Doc, no, what could have happened? Bakit may mga ganitong conflicting results?
Since the supposed gunshot residues were done in the Philippines, I am guessing these are what you would call the paraffin tests, which is actually a very outdated test. Originally, it started in 1931. As early as the 1960s, the international community decided it does not distinguish a shooter from a non-shooter, and therefore it is junk. But still, the Philippines in the 21st century, our police still insist on the paraffin test. If they say this is positive or negative, one major drawback of this test is it is not even reproducible. You cannot even document the positivity or negativity because it's supposed to be a very subjective color change. So nobody else in the world with forensic science, updated forensic science, uses the paraffin test. Only in the Philippines.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So inconclusive ito.
Definitely inconclusive.
Kaya po ba nating malaman kung sino yung perpetrator sa isang killing? Tapos ano yung mga paraan para ma-determine yung identity of the perpetrator?
Listening in on the painful Britannico case earlier and that of Mr. Mueller, I was thinking that, each shooting leaves a wealth of physical evidence. And but unfortunately in the Philippines, that is not pursued. We do not have a real CSI. Every fired gun would leaves a lot of physical evidence. Like for instance, at the scene, if you have a semi-automatic pistol, the casing would be left there. And then the bullet would pass through objects, including the body, and it would leave a track or wounds in the body. If it stays in the body, does not exit, it has to be recovered. If it exits, it impacts another location, and you have to identify, recover it. If a body is hit and you're still alive when you're shot, not dead, then you have blood spatter, and that can also be analyzed. And then all those things, even tire track marks, fingerprints, and so on, there are ways to identify people, to connect shooting with a particular gun, with a particular shooter. But this is physical evidence. And again, in the Philippines, we hardly consider physical evidence, and that's why we have to resort to statements. And there are weaknesses in statements, but physical evidence is subjective. There's science in it.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Siguro, Mr. Chair, ibigay ko na kay Kong Raul yung pag-question naman sa next witness na kasama natin dito, si Ms. Lizelle Asuncion. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congresswoman Brosas. Yes, you have 10 minutes, Congressman Raul Manuel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Magandang gabi po sa lahat. Since meron din po tayong isa pang kamag-anak ng naging biktima din po ng Bloody Sunday Massacre, I will direct first my series of questions sa kanya. Mr. Chair, we have here si Ms. Lizelle Asuncion. Magandang gabi po.
Yes po, magandang gabi po sa lahat. Ako po si Lizelle Asuncion, ang ulilang asawa ni Manuel Asuncion at 50 taong gulang.
Mr. Chair, kayo po ang muli po asawa ni Emmanuel o ni Manny Asuncion?
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, saan po kayo nakatira?
Sa Rosario, Cavite po, Mr. Chair.
Tama po ba na nangyari po ang pagpatay kay Manny Asuncion noong March 7, 2021?
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Kayo po, Ma'am Lizelle, nasaan po kayo noong araw na iyon?
Mr. Chair, nasa Workers Assistance Center po kami or WAC Satellite Office po na matatagpuan po sa Block 2, Lot 5, Lawrenceville Subdivision sa Dasmariñas, Cavite po.
Bakit po kayo nasa lugar na iyon po ba ay bahay po ninyo? Doon po talaga kayo nakatira?
Hindi po, Mr. Chair.
So bakit po nandoon po kayo sa Workers Assistance Center?
Doon po kami tumutuloy noon dahil nag-aayos po kami ng relief operations dahil panahon po yun ng pandemya. At naghahanda rin po kami noon para sa papalapit na International Working Women's Day sa March 8 po.
Tama po ba na yung nangyari ay ito po March 7, madaling araw? Tama po ba?
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, maaari po bang ilahad mula po sa perspective ni Ma'am Lizelle, ano po ang nangyari noong madaling araw ng March 7, 2021?
Yes po, Mr. Chair. Nakaupo po kami noon sa gilid ng higaan na yung foam. Nakalatag po siya sa sahig. Niyakap ako para protektahan ako at saka po pumasok ang mga kapulisan. Sumisigaw po sila na dapa-dapa. Nakita ko po na naka-uniforme po sila at may mga baril po sila. Naka-camouflage po. At may mga patches ng PNP Rizal at PNP Laguna po yung kanilang mga damit. Sila po ay naka-ski mask po. Pero saan po nilang binuksan yung gate at pinto ng office namin. Pagkatapos po, tinadyakan po nila yung pintuan namin sa second floor.
Mr. Chair, bago po tayo magpatuloy, gusto ko pong makumpirma mula kay Ms. Lizelle. Nabanggit po ninyo na may nakita kayong patch ng PNP Rizal at PNP Laguna doon po sa suot ng mga pulis na lumusob sa Workers Assistance Center. Tama po ba yun?
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, sa pagkakaalala po ni Ma'am Lizelle, ilan po yung mga pumasok sa kwarto kung nasaan po kayo ni Manny Asuncion?
Mr. Chair, 6 po sila at marami pa pong iba sa pasilyo. Lahat po sila ay nakasuot ng ski mask o bonnet kaya po mata lang po yung kita.
Ibig sabihin po, Ma'am Lizelle, kung kakayanin po nating makapagpatuloy, nabanggit po ninyo merong 6 na pumasok. Ibig sabihin po, dahil may takip yung mga muka,
Yes po.
wala po ni isa na nakita po ninyo yung mga muka nila.
Wala po.
Pero sigurado po kayo doon sa nakita ninyong patch ng PNP sa kanilang mga suot.
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, liban sa nakita ninyo na merong patch ng PNP Rizal at PNP Laguna, meron pa po ba kayong ibang nakitang identifier o parang kakaiba sa kanilang mga suot?
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Ano po iyon, Ma'am Lizelle? Halimbawa po sa kanila po bang, yung mga nameplate po ba nila? Kita po ba yung
Hindi
nameplate?
po, Mr. Chair. Nakatakip po yung kanilang nameplate. May isa pong lalaki na galit po doon. Gusto na pong barilin si Manny.
So Mr. Chair, lahat po sila, yung mga nameplate po nila ay may takip po yun lahat.
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Ano po yung nakalagay na takip?
Wala po yung nakaano po dito sa nameplate po nila.
Mr. Chair, pagkatapos kayong padapain, ano pa yung ginawa ng mga pulis na pumasok sa kwarto?
Habang po pinadadapa po kami, si Manny po ay nakita kong Nakadapa po siya sa may hagdan habang ako naman po ay kinaladkad ng 4 na pulis pababa sa kusina. Bago hinila pababa, nakita ko pong duguan na nakatutok ang baril sa likod niya. Habang kinakaladkad po ako at narinig ko po yung sigaw ni Man. Mga tao din po kami.
Mr. Chair, sa usapin naman po ng search warrant, nagtanong din po ba kayo o si Manny Asuncion kung merong search warrant na dala o pinakita yung mga pulis?
Opo.
Tapos yun, meron po ba silang nilabas o pinakita ang search warrant?
Wala po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, pagkatapos ng mga nangyari so far na pinadapa tapos kinaladkad din si Manny Asuncion, saan po kayo nun dinala ng pulis?
Inilabas po nila ako sa bahay. Nakarinig na po ako ng putok mula sa itaas kung saan naiwan po si Manny, Mr. Chair. Napapikit na lang po ako sa sarili ko at sinasabi ko pong pinatay na po nila ang aking asawa.
Paano po ninyo nasabi na nung narinig po ninyo yung mga putok ng baril ay po ninyo yun na yung signal na napatay na po si Manny Asuncion?
Yes po, Mr. Chair, kasi po nakita ko mismo na walang kalaban-laban si Manny sa mga pulis. Kasi po mataba po siya at hindi na ganong kaliksi. Hindi niya kayang lumaban o tumakas po. Nakarestrain po talaga si Manny at marami yung mga pulis na nakatutok ang baril sa kanya.
Mr. Chair, tanong po natin kay Ms. Lizelle, nung panahon po ba na iyon, armado po ba si Manny Asuncion?
Hindi po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, meron po bang pinagmamay-ari ang armas si Manny Asuncion?
Wala po, Mr. Chair.
Sa buong pagkakakilala po ninyo, ay meron po bang pagkakataon na nagmay-ari po ng baril o kahit anong armas si Manny Asuncion?
Wala po, Mr. Chair. Halos hindi na po kami makabili ng bigas o mga kailanganin po namin. Kaya po hindi po ganun tipong bibili si Manny na may-ari ng baril.
Mr. Chair, matanong na lang din po natin kay Ma'am Lizelle. Kayo po, Ma'am Lizelle, meron din po ba kayong pinagmamay-ari ang armas o baril?
Wala po, Mr. Chair.
Sa buong buhay po ninyo, may pagkakataon po ba na kayo din ay nagmay-ari ng armas?
Wala po. Hindi po, Mr. Chair.
Kailan na po yung parang siguro kung may pagkakataon po na nakalapit po kayo sa kahit anong armas, may ganun po bang pagkakataon sa buhay ninyo?
Mr. Chair, sa totoo lang po, nung unang dinumog kami ng mga pulis, first time ko po makakita ng mga baril sa malapitan po.
Mr. Chair, kung babalik po doon sa naging insidente, may nakita po ba kayong kakaiba sa mga pulis na involved dun sa insidente?
Yes po, Mr. Chair. Yun ka pong sinasabi nung una. May isang maliit na pulis, nagigil po na patayin si Manny. Sa kwarto pa lang po, halos kalapitin niya na yung gatilyo, yung kamay, yung daliri na kasuot po sa trigil po. Baril po. Pasensya na po, Mr. Chair. Hanggang ngayon, sobrang trauma po ako pag nakakita po ng pulis.
Sige, Mr. Chair, sa punto pong ito, naunawaan po natin ang nararamdaman po ni Ms. Lizelle Asuncion na hindi po natin ninanais na parang ma-relieve po sa kanya yung insidente. Kaya at this point, Mr. Chair, I would redirect my questions muna sa iba pa nating resource persons regarding the details habang bibigyan po natin ng time si Ms. Lizelle Asuncion po na po muna ma-regain po yung kanyang
Sige, okay. You have 3 more minutes,
Thank you.
Congressman Raul.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, dahil nandito po ang Human Rights Organization na Karapatan with Ms. Cristina Palabay. Mr. Chair, gusto po nating malaman, ito pong nangyaring pagpatay po kay Manny Asuncion tsaka doon po sa couple na nabanggitin po kanina, meron din po bang iba pang mga instances na kung saan may mga operations na nasa ilalim ng command responsibility ni Debold Sinas tsaka ni Lito Patay na nagdulot din ng mga patayan sa ating mga kababayan?
Magandang gabi po, Mr. Chair. Sa totoo lang po, una po naming narinig ang pangalan ni Colonel Lito Patay dito po sa Batasan. Dahil napakarami po kaming naiulat sa amin na mga pagpatay dito. Pangalawa, yung pangalan ni Colonel Patay and ni General Sinas nung nagkasama sila sa PRO 7, dun po, kumbaga tail end na lang yung Bloody Sunday Massacre. Dun po maraming naganap na pagpatay, lalo na po sa Negros. No? Doon po ni-launch yung Sauron 1. 6 na tao po ang pinatay, mga magsasaka. Doon po sa Negros, 31 ang arbitrarily arrested. No? Naganap po ang sumunod noong 2019, Oplan Sauron 2, 14 ang pinatay. On a single day po ito on a single day. So these are mga, ang tawag po nila dito, Mr. Chair, yung Synchronized Enhanced Management Police Operations or SEMPO. Supposedly, it's anti-criminality, but it targeted also, and it had farm workers, farmer leaders, activists killed in the process. Sumunod na po yung pagpatay sa mga NDFP consultants. Magkasama na rin po si Colonel Patay, nasa dito lang po sa Metro Manila, nasa CIDG Region 4A, si Colonel Patay, habang si General Sinas ang NCRPO Regional Director at PNP Chief nung naganap yung pagpatay doon po sa dalawang elderly couple, doon po sa Rizal, na police operations din po. Sumunod naman po yung tumandok, no? Siyam, isang araw din po, siyam na tumandok leaders po doon po sa Iloilo ang pinatay, 16 arbitrarily arrested. And then, the Bloody Sunday Massacre, 9 killed in one day, 5 to 7 people were arbitrarily arrested.
Mr. Chair, anyone po from the National Union of People's Lawyers, nasili po ba natin yung details related dun sa search warrant na inisyo din sa ginawa kay Manny Asuncion, at ano po yung mga observations natin, kasi nga merong pattern na defective yung mga ginagamit na search warrant. Ganon din ba yung na-observe dun sa search warrant na ginamit sa case ni Manny Asuncion?
Yung search warrant na binabanggit nila ng pulis ay search warrant para dun sa residence ng mag-asawa ni Manny Asuncion at ni Lizelle na matatagpuan sa Rosario. Ngunit si Manny Asuncion ay pinatay sa Dasmariñas, Cavite sa opisina ng WAC, Workers Assistance Center. Yung address ng search warrant na sinabi na pinakita ng pulis, ang address ay sa Rosario, Cavite, dun sa residensya nila. Ngayon, para ma-justify yung pagpatay kay Manny Asuncion, pagkatapos ng search na ginawa dun sa bahay nila, pinalabas ng mga pulis sa unang press release nila na nagkaroon ng na nakatakas si Manny Asuncion mula dun sa residente niya, papunta dun sa bahay, papunta dun sa opisina ng WAC, at nagkaroon ng parang abulan. Kaya dun siya inabot. Pero sa totoo lang, yung mag-asawa ay natutulog na sa Dasmariñas, Cavite nung pinasok yon. Tapos pagkatapos nung narrative na gano'n na nagkaroon ng abulan, nalaman ng pulis na meron rin palang search warrant na in-issue para dun sa WAC office. Saka lang nila sinabing may sinagawang search warrant sa na nagresulta dun sa pagpatay kay Manny Asuncion. Bali yung nakitang diferensya dun sa sa search warrant.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, dahil nandito din po ang representative from NBI, since sa pagkakaalam po natin ay nai-refer din ang case na ito sa National Bureau of Investigation. Mari po bang maibahagi briefly dito sa Quadcom, ano po yung mga naging major findings or actions na ginawa ng NBI at that time related po dito?
After that, Congressman Manuel, you still have 1 more minute.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So we conducted and concluded our investigation and we filed appropriate cases against the 17 CIDJ officers. Officers. Based on our investigation, there was conclusive evidence and probable cause to file charges against them. Mr. Chair.
Salamat, Mr. Chair. So, huling tanong na lang, Mr. Chair, kay Ma'am Lizelle Asuncion. Maaari niyo po bang ma-describe, kasi napakasayang po ng bawat buhay na napapatay sa ilalim ng extrajudicial killings, lalo pat nakita natin yung patterns, whether war on drugs man o war on dissent. Ano po ba yung mga ginagawa ni Manny Asuncion bago po siya napatay? Sige po, Mari po from karapatan, kung na part din po ng ating mga records, so far based sa profile ni Manny Asuncion, ano po ba yung kanyang mga activities or affiliations?
Well, trade union leader po si Manny Asuncion, and tumutulong po siya sa buong Cavite. In fact, kilala po siya ni Justice Secretary Remulla, no, dahil galing po siya sa Cavite. Kilala siyang leader manggagawa po doon sa pag-organisa po ng mga manggagawa sa Timog Katagalugan. Actually, Mr. Chair, ang kasong ito ay inimbestigahan din ng Commission on Human Rights, no, at meron din silang findings tungkol dito, lalo na sa deprivation of life ng mga victims ng Bloody Sunday, kabilang si Manny. At syempre, nadidismaya po kami dahil nga po dinismiss ng Department of Justice yung kasong ito despite recommendations from the NBI at despite the recommendations din po ng Commission on Human Rights. Mainam po kung nandito yung DOJ representative ay ma-inquire din po ito sa
With that, Mr. Chair, nagpapasalamat po tayo sa ating mga resource persons. Kabilang na po si Ma'am Lizelle Asuncion. Nakita po natin mabigat na mapag-usapan yung ganito mga bagay, pero kinikilala po natin yung tapang at ang persistence po ng ating mga kamag-anak na patuloy pa rin i-exhaust yung iba't ibang pamamaraan para talaga ma-pursue yung justice para sa kanilang mga kamag-anak. Mr. Chair, nakita natin yung similar na modus operandi sa mga extrajudicial killings, mapa-war on drugs man o mapa-war on dissent, ang pag-profile ng mga biktima, yung pag-issue ng mga bogus na mga warrants, yung pagtatinim ng ebidensya, yung paggamit ng nanlaban na justification para sa ganito mga patayan, pati yung mga ineffective na mga ginawang investigasyon dati, Mr. Chair. Kawawa yung mga walang kalaban-laban na mga kababayan natin, wrongly accused, no, na mga whether involvement sa drug trade o yung mga activists dito sa ating bansa na inalay yung kanilang buhay para magsilbi sa mga iba ring inaapi at pinagsasamantalahan. Kaya nararapat lamang, Mr. Chair, na ma-pursue talaga natin itong pagsuporta sa mga pamilya ng mga biktima at maging yung pag-prosecute sa mga principal ng parehong war on drugs tsaka war on dissent na nagdulot ng mga extrajudicial killings. Kasama sina Debolsina, sina Lito Patay, sina incumbent Senator, former PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa at mismo yung dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Yun lamang, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Congressman
Mr. Chair.
Manuel. Yes, is this a manifestation?
Yes,
Congresswoman
Mr.
Rosa?
Chair.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, actually, this will be a motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
No? Mr. Chair, kasi yung police operatives niyan, yung investigators, I have questions, Mr. Chair, dyan sa mga particular na yan mga operatives. Yung ranking of police officials involved, yung investigating documentation team involved, particular kay Manny Ascension, yung implementing team nito, yung Dasmariñas Cavite team, saka yung Rosario Cavite team na mga nandyan. We will siguro, Mr. Chair, yung list ay mahaba. We will give you yung list ng mga pwede nating i-invite, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I would like to move, Mr. Chair, to make a motion that this police officials be invited, Mr. Chair. Siguro banggitin ko yung ilan sa mga kailangan. Kasi dito si PNP Chief Guillermo Alazar Bato and the Bodsinas, of course. PB Gen Felipe Natividad, Ground Commander Supervisor. Colonel Lito Patay. Major Warren C. Delim. Lieutenant Colonel Jacinto R. Malinaw Jr., Lieutenant Colonel Armelina S. Manalo, Mr. Chair. Siguro yun. Tapos yung the rest of the names, i-submit na lang namin, Mr. Chair.
Yes, kindly submit those names so that we will include them in the next
Yes.
in the next Quadcom hearing.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. There's a motion, as stated, to invite the following personalities, where in the list will be submitted to the committee secretariat, and the personalities to be invited in the next scheduled Quadcom hearings. Any second? Duly seconded. Any objections? Hearing none, the motion is approved. So maraming salamat. At doon po sa mga namatayan, kami po ay nakikiramay sa inyong pamilya. So we will now proceed with Congresswoman Luistro. You've been waving earlier, so
Thank you,
I
Mr.
now
Chair.
recognize you have 15 minutes.
Mr. Chair, my questions is for Ms. Smoking. But before I proceed to her, I just want to state for the record that the National Bureau of Investigation manifested their initiative to bring along the agent on case to shed light on the investigation that happened pertaining to the late Britannico. And I hope the same is true with respect to the handling prosecutor. However, Mr. Chair, I'm leaving this up to the chairman whether these officials from NBI and DOJ will be invited. Nevertheless, Mr. Chair, I wish to state for the record the reason why this representation raised those questions. Ako po'y nanghihinayang because based on the story of the brother, Corporal Joven was so cooperative and even admitting having killed those 5 victims. So it really raised a lot of questions. What happened in the investigation? Why was it not pursued during the preliminary investigation? I wish to commend the NBI and the DOJ for taking that initiative to shed light on what happened on the investigation. Nonetheless, Mr. Chair, I'm leaving it up to the chairman of the Quadcom whether to invite those officials or otherwise.
That's noted.
If I may proceed, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed.
Ms. Smoking,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
is it okay that I address you as Ms. Smoking?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And I understand earlier during the interpellation of Chairman Barbers, you confirmed already that you are the same Miss Mocking who used to work in Malacanang during the time of the former president. Tama po ba ito?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Can you please enlighten us? Kailan po kayo dumating sa Malacanang?
July 1, 2016.
July 1, 2016. And can you please state for the record, ano pong position nyo dun sa Malacanang?
Noong July 1, 2016 until August 31 of 2016, supervising administrative officer pa lang po ako noon. Then starting September po, naging ASEC na po ako.
And can you please tell the committee, until when did you stay and work in Malacanang?
Until June of 2022, Mr. Chair.
Would you agree with me if I would say that during the entire term of the former president, you were working in Malacanang?
That's right, Mr. Chair.
And can you please tell us, who was your immediate superior during that time? Kanino po kayo nagre-report and under whose instruction do you do your task?
From July 1 of 2016 until September of 2018, from the then SAP Senator Bongo, and from October 1, 2018 until June of 2022 under Yusek Melchor Kitain, Mr. Chair.
Yusek Kitain.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Prior to your appointment in Malacanang back in July 2016, for the record, Ms. Mocking, saan po kayo nagtatrabaho?
City Government of Davao, Mr. Chair.
And can you please enlighten us? Ano po bang trabaho nyo sa City of Davao?
Supervising Administrative Officer from December of 2015 until June 30 of 2016.
You were saying 2015 to 2016.
That's right, Mr. Chair.
And that is the only inclusive period when you work at the city government.
No, Mr. Chair.
Davao.
From 2024 until December of 2015, my item is Community Affairs Officer, Mr. Chair, under the City Government of Davao.
Can you please state that again? From
From 2024 until 2015, Community Affairs Officer.
how did it happen? 2024 to 2015.
Pardon, Mr. Chair.
All right. You said 2015, 2016, you work in Malacanang, and then I asked,
2015 to 2016, City Government of Davao.
correct, City Government of Davao.
That's right, Mr.
Aside from this inclusive period, may pagkakataon pa po bang nagtrabaho din kay sa City Government of Davao?
Yes, Mr. Chair. 2004 until 2015, City Government of Davao, Mr. Chair. But of different item.
And then recently, you also made representation that currently you are working in Davao.
That's right, Mr. Chair.
What is your work or position in Davao right now?
Supervising Administrative Officer, Mr. Chair.
When did you start?
July 2022
July 20.
and at present, up to the present.
Tama po bang sabihin, Ms. Mocking, given this period of time, 2015 to 2016, and then you have 2004 to 2015, and then you have July 2022 up to the present, plus the Malacanang in 2016 to 2022. All those periods, you were working for the Duterte family.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And kanina po sinabi nyo, when you were in Malacanang, your immediate superior was Senator Bongo and Yusek Kitain.
Yes,
Later
Mr.
on.
Chair.
How about during the time that you were in the city of Davao? Let's start with 2004 to 2015. Sino po immediate superior nyo?
The Chief of Staff of the City Mayor's Office.
So in other words, you were reporting to the city mayor,
The Chief of Staff, Mr.
the
Chair.
chief of staff. So you worked under the city mayor during that time?
Mayor Rudy Duterte, Mr. Chair.
The former president.
Yes, Mr.
How
Chair.
about from 2015 to 2016?
2000? Yes, Mr. Chair.
Who was your immediate superior?
The Chief of Staff, Mr. Chair.
The COS. Who was the mayor during this time?
Rodrigo Duterte, Mr. Chair.
The same. Just for the record, Ms. Mocking, July 2022 up to the present, to whom are you reporting at the city government of Davao?
Chief of Staff, Mr. Chair.
COS. Will you agree with me if I would say that if you are reporting to the COS, it is as if you are reporting also to the LCE, the local chief executive? Or if I may rephrase my question, both the COS and yourself are working under the local chief executive.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Tama po bang sabihin, Ms. Mocking? Because of course it is a common knowledge how associated the senator is to the former president. I'm referring to Senator Bongo. Perhaps Senator Bongo is one of the most trusted people of the former president. Tama po ba?
I cannot speak in behalf of the President, Mr. Chair.
All right. But at least he is one of the people who have been working with the president so closely since the time that he was the mayor.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Tama. Okay. Tama po bang sabihin, Ms. Mocking, na kayo po ay labis na pinagtitiwalaan ng Duterte family and even Senator Bongo, reason why since 2004 up to the present, ang trabaho po nyo umiikot lang kay Senator Bongo at sa Duterte family?
Could you repeat the question, Mr. Chair?
Tama po bang sabihin na kayo po'y labis na pinagtitiwalaan ni Senator Bongo at ng Duterte family, reason kung bakit simula po 2004 up to the present, ang trabaho po nyo umiikot lang kay Senator Bongo at sa Duterte family?
I cannot answer the question, Mr. Chair, in behalf of Senator Bongo and the former President.
I understand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Can you please enlighten us, Ms. Mocking? Paano nyo po nakilala si Senator Bongo? Are you from Davao also?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Born and raised?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Alright. Please enlighten us. Paano po nyo nakilala si Senator Bongo?
Nung nag-work po ako sa City Government of Davao, dun ko lang po siya nakilala, Mr. Chair.
And I wish to believe that since you started working in the city of Davao 2004, perhaps you started to earn the trust of Senator Bongo. Why until now, you continue to work within the same network of the Duterte family. That is a manifestation. You don't need to answer that. How about President Duterte? Kailan niyo po siya nag-umpisang makilala? Was it during the time you started working at the city of Davao or even prior to that?
Since 2004, Mr. Chair, when I started working with the City Government of
In
Davao.
other words, the reason why you came across Senator Bongo and the former president is because you worked in Davao City. There was no prior encounter before the work in Davao City.
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Ms. Mocking, I understand that, or it is a common knowledge during the time of the former president, no, na kapag may gustong lumapit kay Senator Bongo, there were people na kayo po ang ina-approach kayo ang nire-reach out and apparently may mga tao po kayong natulungan.
Probably, Mr. Chair.
As a matter of fact, we have a slide here which shows the gratitude that he wishes to express because of the help that you extended in giving him the chance to see and talk to Senator Bongo. Tama po ba yun?